David James began his career with Akron Public Schools in 1992 and held positions as an environmental program manager and the Energy, Environmental Health, and Safety Manager. He was appointed Executive Director for Business Affairs in 2002, responsible for managing support operations including maintenance, custodial, grounds, purchasing, warehousing, distribution, food service, energy, environmental, health and safety management, telecommunications, and information technology. One of his major accomplishments was overseeing the $800 million new school construction project, which is halfway completed. In a one-of-a-kind partnership with the City of Akron, this massive rebuilding project will convert Akron schools to community learning centers, schools by day and community learning centers for residents during the evenings and weekends. James is a graduate of Cleveland State University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in economics in 1991 and a master's degree in public administration in 1997. He received a 2007 Harold K. Stubbs Humanitarian Award in Education and is a graduate of the 2008 Leadership Akron program. He serves on various community boards and committees. As I said, David is a member of Leadership Akron and serves on the LA Leadership Akron Board of Directors. James lives in Akron with his wife and 2 children who are both students at Akron Public Schools. Please give a warm welcome to David James. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon and thank you for attending the 2012 State of Akron Public Schools address. I would like to thank the Akron Press Club for sponsoring this event and the University of Akron for hosting us here at the Martin Center. I believe this is my third actual State of the Schools address. I would like to acknowledge our school board members who are here with us today, Mr. Jason Haas, our board president, Mrs. Lisa Mansfield, vice president, Reverend Dr. Curtis T. Walker is in here someplace, Mr. Bruce Alexander. I did not see Ginger Baylor come in, and we have Mr. Patrick Bravo and Mr. Tim Miller. Our treasurer, Jack Pearson, is over in the corner, and Dr. Ellen McWilliams, our assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction, and a host of my senior staff are sprinkled throughout the room. I did see former school board members, Amy Grom, James Hardy, Sam Salem is in here someplace, and also the Reverend Ron Fowler. Thank you for attending. I'd like to recognize any other elected officials present here today. You know, over the last 3 years, we have focused on preparing our organization for the next and higher level of work with 5 crucial strategic initiatives or priorities. Number 1 is ensuring high quality teaching and learning. Number 2, recruiting and developing and retaining high performing staff. Building relationships with our students, staff, family, and community, seeking adequate resources while maintaining fiscal responsibility, and providing safe, orderly, and affirming community learning centers. Now, our work is viewed through the concept of the instructional core, which is defined as the relationship among the teacher, the student, and the academic content or knowledge that our students are expected to learn. And this concept is very simple. For the critical work of teaching and learning must be focused on supporting this instructional core. All stakeholders in our community, whether they're internal or external, must understand how they relate to what goes on in each and every classroom across our district. Last year, I discussed how the success of our city, our region, and our state depends on a robust pre-kindergarten through post-secondary or pre-P16, so to speak, system of education. How the success in our schools creates opportunity for all of Akron. I also reported that in a joint effort between the Akron Public Schools and the Akron Education Association, we were successful in securing $9 million through the federal Race to the Top program. Now, not only does this collaborative effort support the strategies I mentioned previously, this effort is helping us make progress toward the following goals: creating a new staff evaluation system tied to student performance to drive excellence in teaching and learning, developing innovative methods to assign, recruit, and support highly effective teachers and leaders, especially in our lowest performing schools, and expanding the learning strategies from our National Inventors Hall of Fame STEM school to other Akron public schools, implementing new rigorous national Common Core standards in language arts and math and new Ohio standards in science and social studies. As part of the Race to the Top program, we've established important performance goals for 2014, the final year of the program, to increase our graduation rate by an average of 1% annually, moving from the current 76.8%, the highest among the urban districts in Ohio, to 80.8%, to reduce the achievement gap between our underrepresented students and majority students by 50%. In the areas of graduation rate, overall performance, and in particular, performance in reading and math, and to increase the number of students enrolling in post-secondary education. In addition, last year I reported on the numerous programs and partnerships that support student success through innovation and partnership, putting us on a path toward improved student achievement. I also outlined some challenges to maintaining that success. Today, however, we must continue the push to be better. Our organization, its structure, and practices have to be further transformed to meet the realities of the 21st century. Our approach to the problems over the last century in public education is really inadequate for the challenges we face today and for the challenges we will face tomorrow. This is not an attack on the old ways of doing business, but a true realization that we must create new paradigms as new realities take hold. These new realities include more rigorous educational standards, holding professional educators accountable by measuring results, and most importantly, graduating students who are prepared for post-secondary education and the workforce. We must also recognize the challenges that our families face on a daily basis, including poverty, crime, health, and culture, that can place barriers in the way of students' aspirations for success. We need to help them overcome all of these barriers. So today I want to talk about real progress and real promise, because I truly believe that our students are indeed Akron's future. So first, I would like to review our performance. On our 2011 state report card, the Akron Public Schools maintained its continuous improvement ranking. 6 schools were rated excellent, 8 schools were rated effective. The schools rated excellent include our Akron Early College High School, King Elementary School, our Miller South School for the Visual and Performing Arts, our National Inventors Hall of Fame STEM School, our Ritzman School or Community Learning Center, and our Windermere Community Learning Center. Our schools rated effective include Betty Jane CLC, our Ellett High School, Firestone High School, Firestone Park Elementary, Hatton Elementary School, Higher Community Learning Center, the Judith A. Resnick Community Learning Center, and the Leggett Community Learning Center. 26 of our schools are in continuous improvement, 10 are in academic watch, and 2 are in academic emergency. Now, over the last year, we have moved 4 schools out of academic emergency, reducing that number from 6 last year to the 2 this year. Also, this year, the Ohio Department of Education began ranking schools according to a measure called the Performance Index. I would like to point out that our Akron Early College High School was ranked 29th out of 743 public high schools in the state of Ohio based on performance. And in Summit County, Akron Early College High School is ranked number 2 behind Hudson High School in terms of performance, beating all the rest. Now, I point this out because the Akron Early High School has a focus on students who are first in their families to attend college. The fact that these students who, as ninth graders, start their high school careers on the University of Akron campus, competing with regular college students, is truly amazing. Looking a bit closer at our achievement results across Akron Public Schools, at nearly every tested grade level, we see increases in the number of students who are proficient and above in reading and math over the last year. An example, in reading, the number of eighth graders who scored at proficient or above rose 7.8%. The number of seventh graders who scored at proficient or above in math rose by 9.4% over the previous year. This is a true testament of the hard work of our staff. Now, I am so thankful that we have so many staff members, many who are here today, who go above and beyond the call of duty each and every day in each and every one of our schools in support of my kids, all 23,000 of them. For our schools in academic watch and academic emergency, we engaged the University of Virginia School Turnaround Specialist Program. Under the leadership of Dr. Ellen McWilliams, we are supporting improvement efforts in some of our lowest performing schools, leveraging our Race to the Top funding to participate in this program. It's a 2-year program that is equipping our principals, teacher leaders, and central office administrators with the skills needed to bring about deep change in underperforming schools. It provides them with ongoing support. This program is helping us develop the tools and skills needed to guide the development of successful school leaders, along with staff, to create environments that support academic achievement. Participating schools include Helen Arnold, CLC, our Krause Community Learning Center, Mickey Bright, Robinson, Cyberling Elementary School, our Ennis Community Learning Center, Jennings Community Learning Center, and Kenmore High School. And we refer to this group of schools and this program as our Impact Network. Using the most innovative thinking in education and business, this program is providing executive leadership development for carefully selected principals using a criteria developed by the University of Virginia. Candidates are provided the training in the use of data to drive decisions, to monitor progress, and to identify opportunities for innovation. In addition, we have added 3 more schools to this Impact Network: our Buchtel High School, the Akron Opportunity Center, and our Bridges Academy. Together, these schools received a little over $3.2 million in federal school improvement grants to support their improvement efforts. And these funds are being used to launch innovative new transformation strategies, such as the new tech model at the new Buchtel Community Learning Center slated to open this fall. The New Tech Network is promoting the idea that teaching and learning can be transformed through a focus on project-based learning, through student collaboration, critical thinking, and self-directed learning, through the effective use of technology, and a culture that focuses on student ownership of learning in an environment that promotes trust, respect, and responsibility. We are also taking our highly successful STEM strategies at science, technology, engineering, and math and spreading them to more schools this year. Teaching more students 21st century skills with an emphasis on innovation and creative thinking, especially in science, technology, engineering, and math, skills important to our local, regional, and national economy. So we are supporting this STEM expansion to the Akron Opportunity Center and Bridges Academy. For our non-Impact Network schools, our Higher Community Learning Center became the second middle school to adopt STEM programming and instructional strategies this past fall. Portage Path Community Learning Center, in partnership with Kent State University and the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, is implementing similar strategies. This work is supporting our efforts to move our best practices in teaching and learning to all Akron public schools. So many of you will ask, why is STEM so important? Well, in 2010, the state of Ohio adopted what are called the Common Core State Standards in English and Mathematics. The state also revised academic content standards in science and social studies. These revisions are to be fully implemented in Ohio schools by the 2014 school year. The state is also realigning our state assessments to be in alignment with these new academic content standards. So together, these initiatives support the development of 21st century college and career readiness skills. And if we are to compete with the world in offering innovative products and solutions, our expectations for student achievement must increase. As we move to higher levels of academic rigor for students, there is a comparable movement to hold our teachers and administrators more accountable. So first, let me start by saying that we have some amazing teachers here in Akron Public Schools. And so you'll ask, how do I know? Well, I see the results. And I see so many of our teachers who go beyond the call of duty to help our students be successful. Whether it's by providing students with needed supplies or gloves and hats when it's cold outside, except for this winter, the majority of our teachers are true advocates for our students. Now, my approach in all this work from day one has been one of honesty and a firm belief that we owe it to our community, to our taxpayers, to hold each other accountable. When people cannot or they refuse to meet our expectations, to support our students and their families, to support our instructional core, then frankly, it's time to go. Simple and plain, we are in the student and family business. Today, in an environment where our customers have other choices, we have to take note. If not, our competition steps in and our enrollment continues to decline. Last November, the State Board of Education adopted the Ohio Teacher Evaluation System. And this new evaluation system requires teachers to be evaluated 50% on student growth measures and 50% on teacher performance, with more intensive and frequent teacher observations. This initiative is also part of Race to the Top, with pilot phases beginning in 7 Akron Public Schools this fall. By 2015, all Akron Public Schools will be using this new teacher evaluation process. Now, stronger teacher evaluations and accountability are also being put in place for our principals and even for me as superintendent, using revised standards from the Ohio Department of Education. And speaking of principals, I would like to thank the GAR Foundation, for we have leveraged our Race to the Top funding in conjunction with funding from GAR to implement what we call the Aspiring Principals Academy, or APA for short. This innovative year-long program is designed to recruit and prepare top candidates for the principalship and assistant principalship within the Akron Public Schools. This meets our critical need for leaders as more of our people retire. Of the 19 graduates from the first class this past year, 9 moved immediately to assistant principal positions, or positions that we call Dean of Students. 5 graduates completed full-time principal internships, preparing them for future principal openings. A second class of the APA is currently being launched. Now, greater collaboration is a major factor in the success of all these initiatives. Building communities of professional practice across the district where our teachers and administrators can work together on improving student outcomes and performance is high on our agenda. And I would like to thank the Akron Education Association and President Jeff Moats and former President Bill Seifert for working with us in building time into our school schedules, allowing for our teachers to collaborate on improving student achievement. Our commitment to supporting high-quality teaching and learning and developing a high-performing staff will help us make progress towards improving our graduation rate, closing our achievement gaps, and increasing the number of students who move on to post-secondary education. College and career readiness may be the one issue that is of most importance to our community as a whole. Several of our educational stakeholders, including the University of Akron and the Summit Education Initiative, have started to look at our work along a continuum, cradle to career, view. And this has many major implications for how we accomplish our respective missions and how we identify obstacles that hinder success. If we are to meet the college and career readiness goals of new standards and higher expectations, increasing the number of students who move on to post-secondary education is very critical. We know that many jobs today require some form of training beyond high school. This training may take the form of an industry-recognized certificate program, a 2-year program leading to an associate's degree, or a 4-year program leading to a bachelor's degree. The implication for the Akron Public Schools is to ensure that all students are prepared for their individual next levels of work. This means that students have to take more rigorous courses, develop excellent writing, critical thinking, and analysis skills, be well versed in the use of technology, and understand the implications for a global economy. Students must be prepared to take the ACT and understand the process of planning how to go to post-secondary institutions of learning. In addition, students and their parents need to understand our local career opportunities and have early exposure to these career areas. And I realize that many people, when they hear college and career readiness, they have a picture in their mind that says all students should aspire to earning a 4-year college degree. The reality, however, is that the best thing for some of our students is to take a skill that they have developed in high school, like welding, medical technology, culinary arts, or business, and develop these skills further by earning a certificate or a 2-year degree from a technical or community college. Some of these students have families to support in these difficult economic times. Some may be concerned about the high cost of a 4-year degree. Some may be concerned about finding employment. To me, however, the most important factor in all this is to understand the opportunities that are available within our own community and doing a better job of building career pipelines to these opportunities. We know that building an educated workforce contributes to economic growth. As businesses around the country and the world look for places to grow and thrive, locations that offer a well-trained workforce are more attractive. As we seek to engage our students and their families in promoting success, we must also recognize the challenges that our families face within our community. And this is why I have been working with Dr. Proenza and the University of Akron to promote the Innovation Generation Scholarship Program. The Innovation Generation Scholarship Program will provide motivated students an incentive, mind you, to work harder to achieve better grades, increase their graduation rates, and help ease the financial burden on students and their families. This scholarship opportunity will allow Akron Public School graduates to attend the University of Akron full-time if they meet the following criteria. As graduates of Akron Public Schools, one criteria: have a 3.0 high school GPA and a score of 27 on the ACT, or rank in the top 10% of their high school class and score 26 on the ACT, or have a 3.5 high school GPA and a score of 24 on the ACT. In addition, while attending the University of Akron, those students would continue to be eligible for further funding as long as they maintain a 3.0 GPA. Now, currently under consideration in the Ohio legislature is House Bill 381, sponsored by State Representative Lynn Slavey. If approved, it will allow decommissioned schools like our own Central Howard High School to be made available first to public universities through the exchange of in-kind services. In this particular collaboration, the University of Akron would use the appraised value of Central Howard High School to launch this scholarship program. Now, the Innovation Generation Scholarship can open more doors to more of our students by removing the financial barriers to higher education. Dr. Proenza and I both believe that this novel public-public partnership will act as a catalyst for other community leaders, foundations, and industry to broaden the funding to sustain and grow the scholarship program and expand opportunities for our students. Now, I know there are many naysayers out there who will criticize this initiative with a mistaken belief that urban public school students cannot succeed. Well, let me provide some evidence of success. In May of 2011, I had the honor of congratulating our Akron Early College high school students as they received their high school diplomas, including some graduates who were prepared to receive their associate degrees from the University of Akron the following day. And I recall how many of the parents came up to me to shake my hand, along with the Summit College Dean, Stan Silverman. And many of the parents had tears in their eyes. Many of them told the story of how their sons and daughters were not interested in school. They had trouble peeling them out of bed in the morning. Many of us parents know the feeling. Until those students attended the Akron Early College High School and the changes that occurred in their children. The same can be said of our National Inventors Hall of Fame school. Students in these programs are eager to come to school and learn. Students like Adam Ben Porath, who was named a semifinalist in the 2011 Broadcom Math, Applied Science, Technology, and Engineering for Rising Stars competition, a program of the Society for Science in the Public. Adam was among 300 semifinalists out of 6,000 nominees across the country. Not to mention last spring, two of our Bookville High School graduates, Stephen Harris and Akil Gregory, who were named as Gates Millennium Scholars, joining an elite group of only 1,000 students in the entire country selected for this honor. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Gates Millennium Scholarship, it provides its recipients with support for both undergraduate and graduate tuition all the way up to doctorate degrees. So these students are excelling. In addition, moving to our career education area, over 200 APS career education students have qualified and competed at state-level competitions. 15 of our students have competed at national competitions, demonstrating skills learned in our nearly 30 career education programs. And let's not forget Ariel Bates, a sixth grader at David Hill Community Learning Center, who recently led the Pledge of Allegiance during our board meeting in January. Ariel is an honor roll student, a peer mediator, a lunch monitor, a character counts winner, and is also in the orchestra. She's passed all three parts of her Ohio Achievement Assessment test and scored as advanced on all three. So students like these are examples of the many thousands in the Akron Public Schools who aspire for success and are willing to put forth the effort. Those students will have an opportunity to achieve, much like our East High School boys basketball team, the Dragons, winning the series six. Now, my job as superintendent is to make sure that the appropriate supports are in place so that all of our students can be successful. Our success is linked by what each of our partner organizations, many of you in this room, what you can contribute to true dialogue and collaboration with a laser focus on student success in a safe and affirming learning environment. Now watch out, because Karen Ellerson is going to get pointed out here. Our Be Safe, Be Respectful, and Be Responsible campaign goal, under the leadership of Karen, provides a positive school climate where every student can learn without fear of intimidation, bullying, and school violence. Our partnership with the City of Akron and the Akron Police Department serves as a prime example of how these collaborative efforts between the city and the Akron Public Schools is promoting success in our community. As trained and certified school resource officers serving our secondary buildings, the Akron police officers are not just enforcers of the law and order. These officers are part of the team, helping spot students in crisis and establishing positive relationships with all of our students. And we share the cost of these officers with the city, and it is a really cost-effective collaborative program. And I would like to thank Mayor Plasquelic, who I know is traveling, and Police Chief James Nice for their continued and innovative support for this program. Another partnership with LeBron James and the LeBron James Family Foundation with our Akron After School program continues to go strong. The Wheels for Education initiative, in partnership with State Farm Insurance, where over 300 students have received long-term committed and focused academic assistance. This program includes a 2-week educational camp in the summer offering extensive reading intervention and technology classes to help our students meet current academic standards. Students receive continued support and incentives for achievements during key milestones throughout their school careers. And as I have stated before, LeBron's commitment to education and to the Akron community is really a shining example of how these collaborative efforts can greatly benefit Akron's children. Akron After School has been highlighted and featured nationally on two fronts as part of NBC's Education Nation series, where they highlighted the Wheels for Education program, and as part of the U.S. Department of Education's recognition program, Doing What Works, which highlights some of the best practices in our nation's schools. And I would like to thank Michelle Campbell from LRMR Marketing and our own Desiree Bolden for their support in these successful programs. Now, moving over to this side of the room, our Business Advisory Council, it's a group made up of many business leaders from throughout Akron, has helped us focus attention on marketing the district in an effort to retain students. And Mr. Higgins reported on that a few weeks ago. Our business advisory group, they have assisted us in looking at new educational programming that shows promise and overall have been very good partners with the Akron Public Schools. I would like to thank Lou Serraldo for stepping up and serving as chair of the group, after the death of our longtime chair and friend, Tony Garant, last year. And so many of you in the audience here today, from our teachers like John Bennett from Portage Path CLC, who was named our Teacher of the Year last year. I'm still trying to figure out how he got that big treehouse in his classroom. Our high school seniors here at the table to my left, who are participating in my superintendent seminar, to Helena Larios, who's a corresponding secretary with our Akron Council of PTAs, and I saw Officer Andre Moore is in here somewhere. He can't hide. Thank you. There you go. He's usually the first person I see in the morning and the last one to leave in the afternoon. There are so many partners, too many to mention here. Project Grant and Jackie Silas Butler, because she'll beat me up if I don't say something. I'm sorry, Jackie. But, there are just too many people to mention, but I want to say thank you for being here and thank you for the work that you do, all of you, for the Akron Public Schools. Now, no collaborative effort is more important than the relationships we have with our students, their families, and our community at large. And as we work to encourage engagement from not only our students and their families, but from the community as a whole, we are working to improve internal and external communications. Our students and their parents are part of a new generation. That's why we've upgraded our district website, strengthened our social networking tools like Facebook and Twitter, and added bi-weekly newsletters geared towards our employees to keep them informed so they are better able to communicate with you and keep you informed. We have introduced a monthly newsletter aimed at our community. And these pieces are critical as we communicate with our parents and other stakeholders more about all of the excellent opportunities in the Akron Public Schools. We have made real progress and we have shown real promise. So during the next year, we know that the stakes are very high and the danger to us all is very significant. For all of the good things that I have outlined here today, the reality is that we do depend on our taxpayers for support. And as financial stewards of public money, the Akron Public Schools must maintain a balanced budget. When revenue declines or expenditures rise, adjustments become unavoidable. Our district faces a projected $22 million deficit for our upcoming fiscal year, which starts July 1st, and millions more in the coming years. We have closed buildings as we continue to right-size our footprint. In fact, the school board is considering my recommendation to close 3 buildings, Barrett, Essex, and Rankin Elementary Schools, by the end of this school year. Now, this is not an indictment of the hardworking staff at each of these schools. It is the fiscal reality that we face each and every day, though. We cannot support a physical infrastructure that was built to support over 30,000 students when our student population has fallen by a third over the last 20 years. In fact, when we complete our school construction program, the net result will be fewer buildings than when we started. Now, over the long term, we need to move away from an unsustainable system of how we fund our schools and our education system. School funding in Ohio is based on revenue sources at the state and local level that continue to shrink. So now we face a harsh reality. Local property values continue to decline, and the state faces its own budget issues. New avenues of funding, such as Race to the Top and our school improvement grants, help greatly, but they are not cure-alls and will not last forever, as we found with the federal stimulus program. So a levy request is our only real option. Now, the school board delayed a March 2012 request after a very, very close election this past November. In large part, we felt the need to add more time to communicate the district's position to the community. In the meantime, I do know this: every facet of our district will be scrutinized to find more areas to reduce. Our primary goal, though, remains the same: to provide the best education possible with the available resources. In 2009 and 2010, we held off placing a levy on the ballot. I understood back then how difficult our economy was and how difficult our economy continues to be. Over that same period, we continued to look at our operations, making adjustments to save money and be more efficient. And as a result, the Akron Public Schools were ranked as best in class in an Ohio Education Matters efficiency study, which evaluated our non-instructional areas and services, including administration, student transportation, food service, building maintenance, and operations costs. Currently, I am in the process of identifying budget cuts to eliminate our $22 million deficit before July 1st. Without a levy passing this November, I will probably have to cut at least an equal amount and maybe more from our budget for the following year. And if this scenario bears out, we should pack up and just go home. Now, we have some very important decisions to make. These decisions will impact our class sizes, our programs, our course offerings, our levels of support services, and our central office support to our schools. The priority, however, is going to be on direct instruction to children, maintaining that instructional core. During the fall levy campaign, we communicated cuts in expenditures with program reductions, staff pay freezes, and benefit reductions, while still making real gains and outstanding achievements in key areas of academic performance. All of our employees are working hard. Parents are much more involved and engaged, and focused on strategies for improvement are in place. After several years of budget cuts, continued progress will depend on passing a levy this November. It is essential for Akron's economy, it's essential for Akron's workforce, and essential for our neighborhoods. Now, although there are storm clouds upon us, I take solace in the hard work our community is doing. So much excites me about the Akron Public Schools, and although we face many challenges, it's this sense of true collaboration among our staff and supporting student success that gives us all hope for their futures. Many of our teachers, secretaries, principals, custodians, and others come to work each and every day giving us their all. And for that, I want to say thank you. And finally, I would like to say that I believe in our students, I believe in our families, our wonderful teachers and other staff members, and to you, our partners, I believe in you. So God bless, and thank you for supporting our Akron Public Schools.
Question. Are you concerned that closing Barrett Elementary, which is a hub for special needs students, will lead to more parents withdrawing their children to attend other districts?
I was at a very difficult meeting last night at Barrett trying to explain the reality of the district. And, you know, we have some great staff who are working with our other schools to make sure that we can accommodate those students, you know, throughout Akron Public Schools. The one thing to keep in mind, while yes, Barrett is a center or a hub for special needs students, we also have special needs students in all of our schools. And with our new community learning centers, which are more handicapped accessible, you know, more prone for being able to reevaluate and reconstruct within, we feel that we'll be able to provide those same services for those students in a variety of schools and decentralize some of those services. So we have really no concerns about being able to replicate those programs at other locations in the city.
What are your plans for the soon-to-be vacant Perkins Middle School?
Perkins Middle School will be used as swing space for Litchfield. Litchfield will be moving into Perkins after Perkins moves out. Sixth graders will be retained in the elementaries for next year, and the 7th and 8th graders from Litchfield will move into Perkins. And then Litchfield will be demolished as we make way for the new Firestone Litchfield Community Learning Center.
With the projected deficit of $22 million, what is your estimate on the number of teacher staff layoffs that may be necessary?
As we looked at the numbers, if we just did straight staff layoffs with our average salaries for $22 million, if I'm not mistaken, we're talking about between 284 and 300 staff members. Now, there will be other ways of reducing that deficit, so it won't be all on staff, but the staff reductions will be significant.
Are there programs that focus on kids who are not keeping up?
You know, sometimes I think we have a large number of programs that focus on kids who aren't keeping up, and sometimes we have to make sure we balance it and have, you know, programs for our gifted students as well. But yes, we do. You know, Akron After School, we really do target students who are falling back on their achievement. We have a variety of programs where we bring in you know, resources into classrooms. You know, our partnership with Akron Reads to help kids who have trouble with reading. A lot of volunteers come in for that program. We have programs like with Project Grant that tutor students, our Destination College program. We have a variety of programs that actually go and help students who, you know, who face struggles.
We have 17 school districts in Summit County. Akron Public Schools has a very efficient back office and operational departments. Has there been any success or hope of success in leveraging that to other Summit districts?
You know, the problem is when sometimes when you expand the scale of something, you can lose some efficiencies. We are currently having conversations with the other superintendents under the leadership of Linda Fueline, who's the superintendent of our Educational Service Center, to partner on some areas such as looking at some common purchasing, such as online learning modules, where we can have some electronic sources shared, you know, between the districts. The one issue, however, is with us having the infrastructure, we do partner with some of the districts. For instance, in the summer months, there are some school districts in the county who will move their food service staples to our warehouse to store because we have such a large capacity with 23,000 students. But we are looking at some other ways that we can collaborate, have been meeting with the state about collaborating on transportation. And, you know, sometimes, you know, we'll depend on Senator Sawyer and his hard work in Columbus to help us through some of that as well, because some of this will take some legislative change.
Do you and the board have any plans to instill the technical updates in some schools to the rest of the schools?
Yes, as we move and complete our program, we'll do those technical updates. We have been doing some back-house technical updates in terms of technology and networking in some of our schools because those were put in probably 15 or more years ago when we had school net funding. And so we're trying to balance, though, you know, looking at when buildings are going to be under construction and those that are further out, trying to strike a balance and do some of those technical upgrades to those facilities on an as-needed basis.
Is there any chance the state school funding system will be fixed once and for all?
I really, you know, I really don't know because, you know, I mean, we've read so many articles about how do we fund schools. You know, the urbans have different issues than some of the rural schools. Some of the rural schools, you know, look just like urbans in some respects. But, you know, the problem is it's really about, I hate to say it, but tax revenue redistribution in some respects, and no one wants money taken from their district to go someplace else. I think that's one of the things Senator Sawyer is working on with this open enrollment piece and trying to study it. The funding system is very complicated. It does overly rely on property tax. But when you talk about other types of taxes, you know, could there be a county sales tax to support operations? the law doesn't allow that. It allows a county sales tax to be used for capital, and right now that isn't where we need funding. We need, more operating funds, or to cut the reduction in operating, because that's really part of the problem. The revenue streams are being reduced locally because of the decline in housing values, and that causes our revenue that we're getting off those mills to decline. The number of vacant and delinquent tax homes that are out there in all of our neighborhoods are empty houses that have been on the market or have just, fallen off. So, I think the way to approach it is just to have develop a more robust economy and really focus on some of the things like they're doing over at the Bioinnovation Institute, or some of the things we're doing in University Park, where we're trying to, renew whole communities and bring some value to Akron, and have some of those patents that are created to create some investment here in our community. Then I think we wouldn't really have to change some of that funding, because we would have the revenue. But it is going to be a very, difficult prospect. I know in our Ohio 8 group, we are meeting with legislators and talking about these issues, and trying to look at how we're funded and how we can make some changes. But in the near future, I don't see any change.
What's being done to maximize the number of graduating fifth graders who opt to attend a neighboring middle school?
That's one of the things I mentioned with our Business Advisory Council. Really, having the business people here is great, because some of the things in education you don't really think about, like marketing. Now, when you go to Acme and you swipe your card, because you can find me in there almost every Saturday morning, they have so much information about you. They know your religious affiliation, your political affiliation. I'm like, how in the world do they know that from swiping a card? But it's by what you buy. And so, we worked with the Taylor Institute here at the University of Akron, some of the members here at this table, and understanding marketing and how we need to reframe our messaging that goes out, which is why we're trying to do a better job of communicating our message to the community. The fact of the matter is this: many of our students are being enticed to go to educational options that aren't performing better than we are. In many cases, they're performing much worse, and that's not an indictment of charter schools. I have no problem with charter schools as long as they're high quality and that the playing field is equal. Well, the playing field is not equal. When you look at some of the voucher programs and how they're setting those up, it is really robbing a lot of funding from charter schools, but we have to do a better job, and I've said this before, treating our parents. It's just like the cable company. How many of you have switched from Time Warner to Uverse, back to Time Warner, back to because of whatever? And our public is very similar, unfortunately. They'll just switch on you in a minute, and we have to do a better job of not just the quality educational programs, but quality relationships with our kids and their families. That's what's going to keep people here in the Akron Public Schools.
Is there any consideration to change the admission policy of the STEM school so that students with a math aptitude can take advantage of it, so it's not just a lottery?
No, because the requirements in the Ohio Revised Code that provided the grants to start that up had a very strict stipulation that those students have to be accepted by lottery and not on the basis of their achievement. And there were some very difficult conversations that I would hear in the community when we were starting that. And I was actually shocked that I would hear people say, well, those kids, why are you going to let, these kids who don't have an aptitude for math or science? And the whole issue wasn't about setting up a special program for people who had the aptitude. It was setting up a program for kids who didn't, to develop more of that. And guess what? It worked, because the first year we opened it, the school was like effective or excellent. And, the thing is that when you get kids of different academic abilities, particularly in the model that the STEM school uses, where they have their advisories in the morning, where groups of students work together, the kids work in teams, they're helping each other. Now, I don't know how many kids I've had in my house working on one of those projects, down in the basement on the pool table with all this stuff, but it's amazing. Because those kids, now you'll hear parents say, well, you know what the punishment is? You won't go to school, or you won't participate in this program if you don't behave. And they're straightening up immediately because they want to go to school because the kids are having fun, and it's a model where when you drop your kids off there, you have Officer D's out there with a smile on his face. That's part of our whole issue that Karen and Officer Moore are working with to make sure that our environments are friendly. Working with people, inductees to the National Inventors Hall of Fame like Dr. Jim West. How many kids in an urban environment would have the opportunity to sit with this African American who has, numerous patents, is like he's just outshines me, a brain that I'll never have, and works with our kids. It's building character, it's building their achievement, and I think it should continue to be open by lottery.
Do you envision making Central Howard High School building the permanent home for the STEM high school?
And working with the University of Akron, it will be a dual-use facility. The university has a great need, I know, for additional classroom space, particularly labs, and we have those in Central Howard. We had many of the STEM deans come through on a tour, and many of them said the labs in Central Howard were better than some of the labs they had at the university. So in working with Provost Sherman and President Proenza, we've committed to the first 2 years of our STEM school for the 9th and 10th grades to be located at Central Howard. However, there are some other opportunities that we have to be able to possibly take cohorts of students and as their juniors and seniors have them attend classes at the university, very similar to our Akron Early College, or attend classes and cohorts of students at some of our local businesses to work with many of the professionals out there to try and build those pipelines, because if our kids don't see it, what is the saying? You can't see it, you can't be it. I need my kids to be at Goodyear, to be at Summa Health System, at Children's Hospital, at a variety of these places in the community, working with these people so they get to know them. If you're going to build those pipelines in your future workforce, for all you employers out there, you need to come see me and work with our kids, because you need to work with them earlier so you're developing some loyalty to your brands and to your companies. Because we can only pull so many people from sunny Florida or Los Angeles or Texas or what have you to come to Akron. This is not the typical winter. So any of you who have people visiting here, make sure you warn them that this is not typical. But, we do have plans to make sure that it is a very robust educational program and to move more of those kids to taking college credit. So at least when they graduate from high school, they can have a year of their freshman courses out of the way and then more easily transition into some of the STEM colleges at the university or wherever they want to go.
Isn't it frustrating to pass a school levy increasing the amount per child and then to have them leave for any of the voucher programs endorsed by the state of Ohio?
No, absolutely it's difficult, because what happens is many of our teachers will attest, those students end up coming back and they're further behind, and then they have to put more resources into bringing those kids up to speed. So is that an efficient use of anyone's tax dollars? Absolutely not. Like I said before, we're in a competitive environment now. We have to compete. Just make sure it's a level playing field, and I can deal with that.
How are early childhood education programs helping with academic improvement?
Well, one of the initiatives that, Russ Pry has spearheaded with some others is our First Things First initiative, and really a focus on having quality early childhood programs in our community available for our families. I mean, I look around the room and I see John Saros and Chris Uhas and many others who are really committed to making sure that we have these early childhood programs, which is one of the reasons why we're partnering with AMHA to create, a Summit Lake Center that will focus not just on the early childhood piece, but also on the adult piece. When kids come to us, it's very sad when many of those kids don't have the proper social skills. Look at a lot of the research in terms of the income disparities related to the amount of printed materials that early, preschoolers have in their homes. It makes a huge difference. And we have to make sure that our programs are focusing on, getting these kids before they get to kindergarten. That's why we're talking about with the Summit Education Initiative, Darren Weimer's here someplace. We're talking about our not the cradle to grade, but cradle to career, our cradle to career system is really, intervening with kids very early so they're better prepared for kindergarten. Look at our cross scores and what they indicate, those pre-kindergarten readiness scores. Very important to make sure that, we do a better job of preparing our youngest citizens, and that is something that we're committed to as members of First Things First, and, really working with the county executive to spread that program and make it more robust.
To Akron Public Schools, if he wins an NBA championship, do you think he'll get more computers?
Well, I tell you what, I'm having a hard time affording new computers, so I certainly hope so. But I really can't say, a lot of people have, made statements about LeBron, and I'll just say this, you know what? He has to make his own individual decisions, but I'll say one thing. He never forgot his community, and he never forgot where he came from.
This will conclude our program. Thank you for speaking with us. Thank you all for coming. Whoops, Chelsea.
This is something brand new. We don't usually give folks things, so we're just starting this. This is a thank you. It's just a simple thumb drive. Hopefully it will work with your technology.
All right. Thank you so much. All right.